Here we go. Episode number 5. We have Santos and Kimmy, and we're going to talk about being a vegan versus being a meat eater.
Hi, Santos.
Amy, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Great. Always great.
Yeah, me too. Always great. Always vegan and always great.
Yep.
So I thought we could start the show off with, I wanted to let the viewers that are watching this show know that the reason we put this show, the reason we're quite brutal in what we say, because I've had a lot of comments about it being brutal and it's not the way to get people on the vegan lifestyle. The reason it's like that is because the way animals are treated is utterly brutal. And if we don't stand up for them, nobody will. So before they want to write comments saying that it's extreme, actually the way animals are used is extreme. So I just wanted to put that forward and start the show off with that thought. So yes.
Yeah, I get the same thing, Kimmy, and what I reply is
Excuse me.
there's thousands upon thousands of very loving vegan people out there with loving shows and all lovey-dovey beef vegan. It's so nice and so nice. So if they want that, they can get it. But if they want the brutal truth, well, they can listen to our show. Otherwise, go to the lovey-dovey ones where everything's lovey-dovey. The animals are
And fake.
Yeah, they don't keep crocodiles in South Africa till the age of 3 and grow them up in pens, 100 in one pen with stinky, pooey, shitty water, and their eyes are infected. And why do they grow those crocodiles? So that at the age of 3 they can get a long bar like this. The crocodiles are only about 3 feet long. They get a long bar like that, like you showed in that video you posted yesterday on Facebook. They get this bar and they stab them in the top of the head and they push that bar right through their spinal cord, and you see that the crocodile's writhing like this and withering in pain, and as they shove that bar right down their spinal cord and rip their spinal cord to shreds and murder that crocodile, so we can have all these nice little purses with crocodile skin, and we can just walk around and think we're so chic now, aren't we? Oh, we can just do whatever we want to the animals, can't we? You know, that's what I say to people. Go to your lovey-dovey place where you can get all your lovey-dovey things and you can get a nice little feel about being so proper. And it's not about, this ain't about, you know, being, some people think, oh, they go to being a vegan for a year or two and then they go back to meat eating. And why did they do it in the first place? Oh, because they want to, I know, some guys think they pick up girls by saying that they're vegan. Well, some girls, they do it for some twisted, demented, they think it's a fad. Oh, let's just go vegan. Oh, it's so cool. No, there's every reason under the sun to be vegan. You are morally superior, you have more intelligence, intellectually superior, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. See Nate Diaz, how he whipped the butt of Conor McGregor, the meat eater, who was boasting that he was going to, you know, he was going to knock him out in 4 rounds. It was the other way around. He was knocked out in 2 rounds. Vegans are superior in every way. And so what I say to people is, if you don't like the message, don't tune in and just stay a meat eater, and you will suffer for probably eternity, because meat eating is guaranteed. See, this is why it's very hard for me to say these things, because people haven't done their reading and they don't know what I mean, but I'll say it anyway. You're a meat eater and you're a murderer of animals, you'll go to hell. And I'm not talking about church hell. Please, I don't do that churchy bullcrap. I don't do churchy stuff. I do the true interpretation of the scriptures. And hell is everything that has to do with living in material realms. Now, we are quite fortunate in that we live in a material realm that is not so bad as other material realms. But should we get it wrong in this life, and our soul does not have the correct vibration in the afterlife, because that's what we're facing. We're facing an afterlife after this life. We're not here forever in this plane. And once we're moved on from this plane, we do have what's called a judgment. It's not God judging us. He doesn't sit there. It's the universal intelligence. It's the universal consciousness. It's we ourselves that judge us. And if we have blood guilt, if we have any kind of blood guilt, we will not ascend. And I'm doing this out of profound love for every single individual of my brothers on this plane. Profound love. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Can we hear? Yes. I think that before people want to write that this is extreme, they do need to know that the way animals are treated are extreme, because you know they are, and I think that exactly what you're saying is that depending on your vibration, when you die and you leave this plane, it will determine where you go, and I mean that's the most important thing. And again, this show is done through love. I think people think that we're having individual digs at them, but we're not. We're actually doing it for the animals, not them.
I know, especially my style. Well, I'm not going to apologise. I've always been like this. I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, Santos, you get a lot angrier these days." I don't think so. I've always been pretty much like this.
Yeah.
A voice. Yeah, I've always been a voice piece for the animals ever since day one. Day one, I've always been preaching veganism or vegetarianism, at least, especially if it's pure vegetarianism, where the individual knows for a certainty that the animal from which they got that milk from, because the Hare Krishnas, they will have their milks, and the Indians, as they've always had, is not a persecuted animal, and is a loved animal, and is not abused, and is not. And that milk is not taken totally from the animal, and it is shared with the young calf and what have you. As that vegetarian, that's fine. But I've always been one step higher than vegetarianism, and I've always proposed and promoted veganism and been a voice piece for the animals, because the animals, although they have voice, they do not have speech, and this is what the old philosophers were saying. Just because we can't understand their speech, it doesn't mean that those cries are not cries for mercy. They are intelligent beings. They're conscious. They're conscious. They know when you're going to slit their throats. They know when you're going to stick a bullet in their heads, and they know that they don't want that. They don't want that. That's why they cry. An animal cries. A pig cries. Try killing your dog. Try grabbing the dog by the ears and putting a sharp blade under its throat. It knows what's going on. They're not stupid. They smell fear. And so this is what the elites do when they sacrifice children. These demons that are in power in the world today. And they have a constant flow of little children that they've kidnapped from all over the world, and they murder them and sacrifice them in their castles. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these are all murdering demons. These are not human beings. Hillary Clinton, Bushes, Barack Obama, you rest assured they are murdering little children and drinking their blood. But they don't just, do it when the children aren't looking and just do it kindly or whatever. Like, they actually torment those children for hours and hours, and persecute them and jab them with sharp instruments and treat them so horrifically before they slit their throats and drink their blood, because they want all the endorphins, they want all the adrenaline and all the endocrine system fluids mixed with the blood so that they can feel those human emotions when they drink that blood. And so they drink that blood and offer it to Molech and all of their gods and what have you, And they are now imbued with human feelings from those children. And the same thing happens with animals. Those cows, they know, they can smell the blood of the cows who have preceded them and have been murdered before them, and as they go in, they start shivering and all of their endocrine system starts activating, and they are pumping adrenaline into that meat, and all their body is full of fear and intoxication. And so then they slit the throat of that cow. This is a murderous, disgusting habit that humans. This is the cult of corpse eating. This is zombies begetting zombies. And so we ingest that. And not only do we ingest that, that meat is already riddled with mad cow. The cows are already eating, cannibalizing, because they put human parts and cow parts in their food. They vaccinate them with all sorts of poisons. The grass is full of DDTs and all of these grass boosters, so the grass will grow big and fresh. See, farmers don't care about you. They want lots of green grass and they want big fat cows, so they get a lot of this money. And so not only are you just ingesting the vaccinations, you are ingesting all the toxins in the grass, you are ingesting the toxins of the adrenal system of the cow and all that fear in the meat. Then they put preservatives on top of that to keep the meat red, and so it doesn't stink, because after a day, meat stinks. It stinks, man, because it's dead. It is dead. You're eating the bum of a cow that is it's dead, and it's got parasites in it. It's got all sorts of creeping little creatures that you can see under a microscope, and so those little parasites are decomposing that meat. So the butcher puts preservatives in it, he puts colour in it, makes it nice and red, and you see all these choice red cuts, and you think, oh, aren't I sophisticated? I'm going to have some pig's bum tonight for dinner, and then I'm going to have some pig's bum for breakfast tomorrow. I'm so sophisticated.
That is disgusting.
It is grotesque. It is the cult of death, and demons have taught this to humans. Humans are not meat eaters. Nothing about humans has to do with meat eating at all, at all, at all. And so the other day I was parked out the front of a butcher shop, and you see all these unconscious people walking into the butcher shop, and they come out with their plastic bag of corpse bits, carcass bits, you know, cadaver, and it's like they're walking in like zombies. You can see them walking in. I want my animal. I have to have my animal. I need to eat that cow's bum. If I don't eat that cow's bum, how will I survive? Apples aren't going to keep me alive, are they? Legumes and nuts and seeds. Oh, that stuff, that's for rabbits. I need some bum. And you see, and they walk in, and they come out with a little baggie of bum, you know, and they walk home with their bum, and then they cook their bum, and they eat their bum, and guess what? You are what you eat. They love their bum.
You are what you eat, exactly. That's right. That's why I did a video on vegans are sexier than meat eaters, because they are.
Oh, you don't even have to say it. They know it. They're jealous. They see that sexiness, and they oh yeah, but you guys are skinny. Oh yeah, but you guys are you guys are but you don't eat meat. So my logic tells me you're unhealthy because you don't eat. This is their retarded, you know, mentality. They're so dumbed down. Their intelligence is so limited. They've got this small pea brain, and it just and they try to put an electrical spark in their minds to try and think for themselves, but they can't, because they listen to the TV commercial that says you need your iron and protein. Meat eaters are healthy. Oh yeah, and so they go around repeating this. Oh yeah, I heard it on the TV. Oh, I'm so smart with my pea-sized brain. Whoa, I'm so clever. I mean, it's just jealousy. It's pure jealousy. Fair enough. I mean, some vegans don't look healthy. Granted, because they're eating soya, all that rubbish. because they've been told to eat all of this food that is actually not very good for you at all, because it's hybridized food, you know. And so they go eating hybridized food. They don't know what to eat. But in comparison, because there are so few vegans, and there is one or two unhealthy ones, they point to those ones. And what I say to people is, don't judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree. You know, if you're going to say, well, let's see how well this fish can climb that tree there. Oh, well, it can't. Aha, so it's not very good. It's not a very clever fish. So this is what they do. They pick on that one vegan that looks really, really bad. But they might just have other problems. They might have stomach problems. They might have thyroid problems. They might have their own personal problems. But in comparison, when you look at meat eaters, all right, let's talk about meat eaters then, what they look like. Well, 99% of them have got these big fat lard asses and these big fat tripe. Like, I mean, you know, they've got this belly that goes out like that, right? And they're walking around with this belly that looks like a bucket of lard, and that's all that meat eaters look like. Have you seen any good-looking, really, really good-looking meat eaters? Even if they are trim and they're looking after their bodies through lots of physical training and everything like that, you still look in their eyes and you can still see murder in their eyes.
Yeah, well, it's in their energy, isn't it?
It's in their energy.
You can sense it's within their energy. They think that they look beautiful, but what they don't realize is that there are people who can see the energy field, like the aura, and in most meat eaters, the aura is very different to a vegan, and you can see it in the eyes, in the purity of the eyes. I mean, everyone can see how blue my eyes are. My eyes are always like this, and they've been like that because since I've been a vegan, I've just been very bright, and I've noticed that about all vegans. They all have a special sparkle about them.
You can also see it in well, you can't see it, but it's in the organs and inside the body as well.
Yeah.
You'll have some heavy weightlifters, right? They're all full of muscles and stuff, and they eat a bunch of meat. But what they won't tell you is that they have joint issues, they have a digestive issues, they probably take thumbs or Tums or whatever for your heartburn. They won't tell you that, but they'll show you, look at my muscles. But they're hurting inside.
Yeah, it's true. 100%. This is the truth show.
It's the truth show, man. It's the truth show. And I do hope that people can just listen to the content and listen with their hearts rather than with their minds. The people who object to our style, Kimmy, those people there are mind people. They're not heart people. You've got to get into your heart. When you get into your heart, then you will become a vegan. You must be heart-centered. And the reason why, Elaine, why you mentioned there that they've got all these other problems that they're hiding, is because the moment you ingest a tiny bit of flesh, your body goes into shock. It goes into acidic shock. It cannot handle all of that acid, and that acid is the negative side of your battery terminal. So when you're eating acidic, you are actually putting negative. You're not putting positive. You're actually putting negative charge into your body. You're taking away the electrical force of your body, and your body goes into shock and it struggles. Now, the reason why people like eating flesh is because of the texture and because of the heavy feel of it and because of the satisfaction of the stomach. Only the stomach is satisfied. Maybe the taste buds, I don't know. I don't know how people enjoy the taste, but I don't think the taste buds are satisfied at all because they have all those condiments and salts and sugars and spices to hide the taste of dead, rotting corpse. So the only part of your body that is satisfied with meat is the stomach, because that heavy texture, the heaviness of the acidic meat, actually calms the body. It tricks the body. It's like a drug. It tricks the body to think, right, well, I'm satisfied now. For 2 or 3 hours, I won't feel hunger. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to allay the hunger pangs. And meat is definitely 100% the best thing to do that because it's so heavy. And so that feeling of heaviness actually quashes those hunger pangs, and so they think, well, I've done a good thing. I've done a good treat to my body. I'm not hungry now, and that's what they think. That's what they think eating is all about, to allay the hunger pangs. But it's not. It's to put electrical charge into the body, voltage. The body requires voltage. It's all it's looking for, voltage. And this is why Nate Diaz thumped that meat-eating dude's butt. He whipped his butt, and they will, as more vegans come out, there will be only vegans will be victorious. Meat eaters will be shamed, and they'll come second, third, fourth, last forever as vegans start coming out and start training properly. And so, and the reason being is because they have voltage. They're operating on voltage.
Alkaline voltage.
Yeah.
Vegan power voltage.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, me. Look, I look at my own personal lifestyle. I spend 16 hours a day behind the computer screen just answering people's emails and inquiries, guys. It's out of control, and I don't spend enough time meditating. I don't spend enough time chanting. I don't spend enough time grounding, and yet I always have abundant energy. Look at me. I mean, it's like I need a cage. My mother says that. She says you need a cage to contain your energy. God damn it! It's just explosive. My mum says she always knows when it's me coming down the driveway or something because I come down at 100 miles an hour. My grandfather, bless his soul, used to say, "Santo," I'll say it in Italian first, "Santo mai cammina, sempre corre." In other words, he said, Santo never walks, he's always running. And that's because I've always eaten raw, I've always eaten green, I've always looked after my body. Yes, I was a meat eater up until 8 years ago. Yes, I was. I did eat flesh, but not a lot of it because it grossed me out. It would gross me out. I only ate it because I thought I had to eat it. I thought it was part of our diet. I was convinced. And so even though I was mainly a fish eater, pescatarian, and a little bit of chicken, man, I got rid of that stuff real quick when I opened my eyes. And guys, syncretism came to me in its full glory only weeks after I stopped eating meat. It was only weeks. I would never have acquired syncretism and all of the sacred sciences while I was a meat eater. There's never been a genius in history that was a meat eater. Never. Pythagoras, Plato, Plotinus, Plutarch, who we will read from today, Porphyry, Iamblichus, Da Vinci, Edison, all the greats.
Well, I think sorry, you go on. Go on.
No, you go, because I talk too much. Join in.
Well, I was going to say that you were talking about the fake vegans, the one that do it as like a fad. Well, it's true because they're not doing it from their heart. They're doing it from their ego, their head. They're logicians. They're doing it from what other people think. When you become vegan and you're truly vegan, you know, because it's coming right from your heart, and you literally cannot tolerate it, so you'd never go back to eating meat. And that's how you know a real truther or a real vegan, a real person who's really found veganism. It's because it's really coming from their heart. They have absolutely no attraction to eating meat and dairy products. The attraction just gets completely shut down, or at least they might like it, but they won't. They will allow their heart to override those sort of feelings or those cravings. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. I know what you mean, sister. Let me share something with you which is very profound, and it's not judgmental. I've been accused of being a dictator and judgmental and everything like that. No, because I don't speak from my opinion. I never have. I've never shared my opinions in public or in any of my presentations. It's all knowledge that we can all check and reference, and we can all verify for ourselves. And this is true, what I'm about to say to you. Meat eaters will not inherit God's kingdom. And whatever God's kingdom means to you, if that means you're going to go to nirvana, you're going to go to paradise, you're going to go to heaven if you're a Catholic, if you're a Hare Krishna, you're going to go to Vrindavan. Many people have different concepts. I'm not limiting this concept of heaven or God's kingdom to any individual's opinion about it. I am expanding it to the universal meaning of what it means. We are here for 70, 80 years in this flesh body, 90, 100, 120, 180 if you're a vegan. But this is the point. This particular life has a use-by date. Let's put it that way. A time limit. What really truly does happen after that, guys? This is the thing. We need to ponder this. Eventually, we will come into another life. We will have to merge into another life because this soul is immortal. We had a beginning in time, as the scriptures tell us. Yes, we were created by the Creator, but we are immortal. These souls are immortal. And what you have in your heart, each individual that is listening, is greatness. You are a human being. You are a wonderful creature, and your soul, after this body expires, your soul will go to another place. If you are a murderer in that you eat the flesh of sentient beings, you will not go to a better place than this place. You will not go to a better place than this place. You will not. And you'll go to your gurus and they'll say, oh yes you will, you can eat meat and you can do this and that and you'll go to heaven, God loves everybody, blah 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 blah. Please pay heed, because they are opinionated teachers. They are self-glory seeking, self-serving people. Watch how much money they're making. You watch that they've got contribution boxes and they're just making money and they live in palaces. Watch those people. They are Mayavadis. They are false teachers, false prophets. And rest assured, 90% of these truthers that are on the radios and teaching truth, you know, I'm a truther. Promise you guys, they are teaching more lies than they are truth. I've mentioned the shills. Just go to my Facebook page, you will see who those shills are. The truth is based on the truth, not opinion. You will never ever ascend whilst you're a meat eater. You will not. You cannot. And that's and
well,
that
I think
is
what it's funny is when you see these Muslims and Christians, and especially the Islam. I don't know if it's the same in Australia and the US, but they have halal meat and they have a section for halal meat. And I always say, and I say it out loud when I go in the supermarket, this is not halal. This is murder. Because they call it halal, but halal means prohibited, I think. That's what it means in Arabic. And they basically, I don't know where religion has gone wrong, but I don't know why they teach people that eating meat and they're going to go to heaven when they do that. It's insane. It's really insane.
It sounds like halal sounds like allowed.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
it's like,
they
it's like legal and lawful. When something is legal, it doesn't mean it's lawful. That's why they've made things legal, so that you can do something that otherwise would be unlawful. They give you a license to do something legal. So what these corporate churches have done, I'll tell you where Islam have gone wrong, because the Quran is a beautiful book. And Muslims don't follow the Quran. They've got no idea how to follow the Quran. So what they do is they follow corporate church. Everything that is corporate is commercial. Everything that is corporate is dead. It's not It's not a company or an association. See, we need to go back to companies, trading as associations, not commercing as corporations. This is where we've gone wrong. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, the Islam, they're all corporations. And so they're all going to teach what corporations teach, which is let's kill cows and eat them because it's a great money-spinning industry. So let's keep that industry going. So the corporations have to look after the other corporations. So they tell lies and half-truths to keep corporate interests alive, because all corporations go under the Vatican, Holy See, Roman Curia umbrella, and the Crown and the Commonwealth. And those are the big five corporations that are murdering human beings. And so, as Da Vinci said, as long as we continue murdering animals, we will be murdering human beings. Once we stop murdering animals, we will stop murdering human beings. And the Vatican loves murder. They want murder. At all costs, they want terror, a war on terror. They want murder, they want killing, wars, because it puts more money in the banksters' pockets and it keeps corporations alive, whereas we should be destroying every single corporation that exists. They should be closed and shut down, and we should begin forming companies, associations, assemblies and congregations. And we should get united as brotherhoods in solidarity and get rid of corporations. That is our evil on the earth. Islam, Christianity, Christendom, I call it Christendom because they're just a bunch of dumb idiots. They're not Christians. They're murderers. They go to church they go to church with a belly full of pig bum. They have bacon and eggs for breakfast, then they go off to church. And so they're going off to worship Jesus, who says gluttons will not inherit God's kingdom, and they've got a gut full of pig's bum and murder in their guts. How are you going to worship Jesus when you got all these bums in your intestines? And they go to the toilet, they've got piles. Why would you tolerate piles, man? Ooh. I mean, I don't know. I think 80% of meat eaters have got stuff hanging out of their butts called piles. Now, I'll tell you why you get piles. Because you're pushing pig's bum out of your ass. If you go to the toilet and you're pushing vegetables and fruits and stuff, you're not going to get piles. So why are they walking around with that stuff hanging out of their bums, that's itchy and oh man, the moment I get a pile, I think I might commit suicide. Because I know I'm just saying that because I know I'm never going to get piles, I'm never going to get anything because I'm a vegan. I've never had anything in my life. I have never, ever had any problem in my life except for I had one headache when I was 9 years old. At the age of 9, I experienced a headache. It was awful. My head was splitting. And that was it. That's my medical history. Because I've eaten well and looked after myself. In 1 week's time, on the 24th of March, I will be 53 years old, and I tell you, I can do what any 18-year-old can do. I can do back flips on the trampoline. I can walk on my hands. I can walk on my hands for 50 yards. I've got physical strength. I've got mental acuteness. I've got everything I need. I'm fully equipped because I don't murder.
I'd like to add that once you're in a certain vibration, and that's the vegan vibration, because you're not eating death, it's almost like you surpass disease. It's like you've got a disease level, and then once you go vegan, your vibration changes and goes up, or your energy expands, and you literally overtake disease. That's how I see it. I can't imagine disease existing in an alkaline rich body. Do you know what I mean? It's
yes.
It's very you definitely being a vegan and eating that electrical charge and having that electrical charge, you literally surpass all disease. And when I go in and I see all these fat people in the gym or fat people in the supermarket, I think, why do you want to live like this? Like knowing that or thinking that disease is could be even natural to you. just go vegan. Like, I wear a vegan t-shirt all the time now, like, go vegan. And I've got people like asking me about veganism, and I tell them, you either have the cancer diet or you have the life light diet. It's that simple. Yeah.
What I would tell people, and notice that I would say it's plus 32 today. Go stand in the sun for an hour without complaining. And if you come back to me and you love it, that's probably because you don't eat a lot of meat. But if you come back to me and say, no, I got to get out of the sun, that's probably because you eat meat all day, every day.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. That's 100% true. Meat eaters cannot stay in the sun. This is why they got their hats on and their sunscreen, and they're actually blocking the healing rays of Helios, the healer, the sun. The sun is the most healing thing. You need a half an hour of sunlight every day to be perfectly in good health. And this is what I've done, barefoot, every day. And so that's why I'm so brown, you see. That sunlight, that's vitamin D. This is all the vitamins and all the minerals that you need you get from the sun. They can't stay in the sun because their bodies are so acidic. They can't do solar gazing. Some people just cannot do solar gazing because they're acidic. Meat eaters.
Wow.
Have a look at Plutarch, guys. I'm continuing on from last week. This is what Plutarch says. Ill digestion is most to be feared after flesh eating, for it very soon clogs us and leaves ill consequences behind it. It would be best to accustom oneself to eat no flesh at all, for the earth affords plenty enough of things fit not only for nourishment but for delight and enjoyment, some of which you may eat without much preparation, and others you may make pleasant by adding various other things. So how about that? I mean, this is a couple of thousand years ago, Plutarch saying, you know, you can eat an apple without any preparation. Just pluck it off a tree, eat, there's your meal for the day. You know, all these people that are, you know, marinating their meats, then they have to spice it and go and buy all these spices and all these delicacies, and they spend 3 or 4 hours preparing it. All this preparation, going shopping to get this rubbish. Then they have to prepare it. Then they have to eat it. And then they have to digest it and suffer the consequences of eating that carcass, that dead, putrefying corpse. You know, all this care and attention to these delicacies, and it's only doing them harm. An apple can never harm you. Never, ever, ever. It can only give you charge, voltage.
I think the worst food is bacon, the pigs, because I don't know, I think the more intelligent, they're all intelligent animals, but I think pigs are very intelligent, and I think the more intelligent they are, the more karma you're going to get from eating them. That's what I think. I think that pigs and eating bacon, when people fry bacon, oh, honestly, that is terrible food. That's not food. I'm sorry, but that isn't food.
No, that's pig's bum.
That's pig's bum. Yes.
And you are what you eat.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why people look like that. They, unfortunately, you know, I mean, it's rather, well, it's brutal, but it's true that people look like animals' bums. Really, I don't see much humanity in their faces or their posture.
No, you can't.
Their posture is revolting. It's revolting. You see 40, 50, 60-year-old people bent over, you know, flabby stomachs. They've got so much flab. Oh, it's creepy.
But it's their skin, a lot of it, isn't it? Their skin, I can see, mostly.
Don't they have mirrors? Please look in the mirror, meat eaters. Please have a look in the mirror. Look closely. Look at those sagging bums you got. I mean, yeah. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. There's not one saggy little bit in my body. Everything is intact and exactly as I was when I was 18. I have never, ever, ever changed. I've never had a belly, never had a flabby ass. It's nice and taut and whatever, and I love the way I look. I love it. Love it. And I'm not in love with
Good to love
myself.
yourself.
It is.
It's an enjoyment to love yourself. I encourage loving yourself, and when you become a vegan, you really, really do love yourself then, because you love the way you look, and you want to show people. You want to show your vibrance off to people in a, you know, not in an ego way, but in a nice, in a way that you're promoting veganism. Mhm.
Oh yeah, that flabbiness, that just does not look good, man. Ooh, ooh,
Flabbiness
That's
is not good.
all I can say about the posture and the look and the aura and the body of meat eaters. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And perhaps they think they're pretty sexy with those big bellies and all that tripe that they're carrying around, but
Try.
that might be your opinion, but it's not the universe's opinion, because I'm amalgamated with the universal opinion, which means I'm amalgamated with universal truth, and I don't get deluded. And therefore, this judge in here is correct, and this judge in here, in my heart, is correct. I have no false judgment. I don't have false judgment. I have correct judgment, because I'm immersed in universal truth. I don't do opinions, and so they might have opinions. Oh yeah, my 100-pound tripe looks all right. That's just, everybody's got a bit of tripe. Yep, that's their opinion. It's, you know, apart from the stench that they emanate through their breath. I mean, I can't. When meat eaters come close to me, I have to get my own space, because I cannot stand their breath. Their breath is never fresh. If you want to get rid of bad breath, don't eat dead corpses, putrefying, rotting corpse. Simple.
It is simple. It's as simple as pie.
Yeah, stinky breath, stinky food. It's what you put in with what comes out, you know, and the flatulence that they've got. Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. I mean, when you become a vegan, there's no problem with wind. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
No.
There's no wind problem. You see these people eating meat, they're farting every 3 seconds. You can't walk behind them. You can't walk in front of them. You can't talk to them. Their breath stinks. They've got gas. They've got all sorts of putrid emanations coming from their body, from their skin pores. I mean, the skin is your largest organ. The skin is emanating gaseous substance every moment you breathe. And so if you've got a corpse in your body, you're farting out of your skin pores, man. And you can smell that stench of their aura from a mile away. I can. Maybe they can't.
I can too.
Yeah, well, their senses are so dumbed down. They can't see, they can't hear, they can't smell, they can't taste anymore, and so they don't get it. They think it's all normal. Everything's normal, normal, normal land. But they don't see, because they haven't transformed. And once you transform through veganism, then you begin to see. Then you really see what the flesh eaters really look like. Your eyes are open. We can claim no great right over land animals which are nourished with the same food, inspire the same air, wash in and drink the same water that we do ourselves. And when they are slaughtered, they make us ashamed of our work by their terrible cries. And then again, by living amongst us, they arrive at some degree of familiarity and intimacy with us. So what he's saying is, we have intimacy with these animals, you know, these pigs and swine and hogs that we keep to murder, and we have an intimacy. We feed them daily. They look into our eyes. They see the murderer that's going to murder them one day, feeding them, and they know, because they're caged. They know those pigs that are caged in pigs' pens. They know that human being that's coming every day to feed them, and they have intimacy with, one day is going to turn with a knife and butcher them to pieces, and they know it, and they're not happy. They're not, because they're intelligent. And so this is what Plutarch's saying here. They make us ashamed of our work by their terrible cries. Being thus wicked and incontinent in inordinate desires, it is no less easy to be proved that men are more intemperate than other animals, even in those things which are necessary, e.g., in eating and drinking, the pleasures of which we, the non-human races, always enjoy with some benefit to ourselves. But you, pursuing the pleasure of eating and drinking beyond the satisfaction of nature, are punished with many and lingering diseases, which, arising from the single fountain of superfluous gourmandizing, you know, gourmet, fill your bodies with all manner of wind and vapours, not easy for purgation to expel. There you go, that's the wind and flatulence I was talking about. You're saying these meters just filling their bodies with wind and flatulence and all sorts of farty smells. Ooh, ooh, ooh. In the first place, all species of lower animals, according to their kind, feed upon one sort of food which is proper to their natures, some upon grass, some upon roots, and others upon fruits. Neither do they rob the weaker of their nourishment, but man, such is his voracity, falls upon all to satisfy the pleasures of his appetite, tries all things, tastes all things, and as if he were yet to seek what is the most proper diet and most agreeable to his nature, among all animals is the only all-devourer. He makes use of flesh, not out of want and necessity, seeing that he has the liberty to make his choice of herbs and fruits, the plenty of which is inexhaustible, but out of luxury and being cloyed with necessaries, he seeks the impure and inconvenient diet, purchased by the slaughter of living beings, by this showing himself more cruel than the most savage of wild beasts. For blood, murder, and flesh are proper to nourish the kite, the wolf, and the serpent. To men, they are superfluous viands. Superfluous viands. The lower animals abstain from most of the other kinds and are at enmity with only a few, and that only compelled by necessities of hunger, but neither fish nor fowl, nor anything that lives upon the land, escapes your tables, though they bear the name of humane and hospitable. So in other words, humans like to think that they are humane and hospitable when they invite their friends around for a bit of cow bum or some pig's bum. You know, just for a slice of flesh, they will deprive a sentient being of its life so that they can have a bit of, well, bum and flatulence and bad breath and all sorts of other diseases that come from rotting corpse that they ingest. For my part, I cannot but charge his using his servants like so many horses and oxen, or turning them off, or selling them when grown old, to the account of a mean and ungenerous spirit, which thinks that the sole tie between man and man is interest or necessity. But goodness moves in a large sphere the so-called justice. The obligations of law and equity reach only to mankind, but kindness and beneficence should be extended to beings of every species, and these always flow from the breast of a well-natured man, and streams that flow from the living fountain. A good man will take care of his horses and dogs, not only while they are young, but when old and past service. Thus, the people of Athens, when they had finished the temple of Hector Tompedon, set at liberty the lower animals and that had been chiefly employed in that work, suffering them to pasture at large, free from any further service. We certainly ought not to treat living beings like shoes or household goods, which, when worn out with use, we throw away. And were it only to learn benevolence to humankind, we should be compassionate to other beings. For my own part, I would not sell even a little money a man grown old in service from his accustomed place for to him, poor man, it would be as bad as banishment, since he could be of no more service, no more use to the buyer than he was to the seller. But Cato, as if he took pride in these things, tells us that when consul, as if he took a pride in these things, tells us that when consul, he left his war horse in Spain to save the public the charge of his freight. Whether such things as these are instances of greatness or littleness of soul, let the reader judge for himself. So he's quoting a very famous Roman, a proconsul of Rome called Cato. We all know about Cato. Well, he bragged that he left his old warhorse in Spain so that he wouldn't put public expense on the public to have it shipped from Spain to Rome. And he thought he was doing a good deed. That was his warhorse. And so Plutarch was saying, judge for yourself whether he did a good thing. Should you do that to your animals? You use them when they're young, and you make great use of them. And when they're old, you just throw them out. You know, you murder them, or you sell them to be eaten, or you just leave them in some paddock and forget about them after all the service that they gave. Dogs, cats, horses. Is this the way to treat animals? How you treat, you will be treated. And you see these people, they treat animals like that all their life. You know where they end up? They end up in some cold, dingy home, in some old people's home for geriatrics, where their relatives don't come to visit them, and they're being pumped with all sorts of pharmaceuticals, and they're like zombies, and they end up like with no one to love for them or care for them. Why? Because that's how they treated animals. The way you treat animals is the way you are going to end up in a home one day. And your own family will treat you like that. Rest assured. You do anything evil to an animal, you watch what will happen to you when you grow old and when you need that help mostly. You will not be looked after. You will not be. You'll be abandoned in some home to suffer like the animals that you caused to suffer. Simple.
Yeah, it's really terrible. It's really true as well, that because when you're not a vegan, you basically cut off your own love supply almost, and you have no love for anything but yourself and no love for anybody else because you're living in selfishness. And that's actually true. It is extremely selfish to eat meat. It is selfish to eat animals. And people might say, oh no, it's not selfish, but actually it is very selfish when you have all the foods that you can eat. Animals, why? I don't understand it, and to me it's totally selfish.
Oh, totally. It's imagine that. I mean, imagine that this individual is sitting there in a restaurant, dining with his friends, eating a slice of pig's bum, and not thinking that they had to actually deprive a life for that meal. A life.
Oh no, but they need it. They need it for their taste buds, Santos.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. I can't live without my meat. My meat. Your meat.
Sorry.
When was that pig's ass your meat? That pig's ass belongs to the pig. Those pig's trotters belong to the pig. The pig was walking with those trotters. The pig was doing poo with its bum. It needs its bum to do poo out of. Anything that does poo you don't want to eat. An apple does not do poo so you can eat it. A cow does poo. You don't want to eat a cow because it does poo. Anything that shits you don't put into your mouth.
No. It's
Pretty
really
simple.
simple.
Besides-
Exactly, as I said.
Go.
That book that you're reading from there, Santos.
Yeah.
Those things that you were reading from, is that someone that obviously that's written that centuries ago?
Yeah, that's Plutarch. Plutarch was his footprint would have been around the time of Jesus, Philo, and all of those famous people. So the supposed historical Jesus. You know that I don't subscribe to any of that monkey business. I know the true Jesus, but supposedly Jesus, the first coming was 2,000 years ago. Plutarch wrote 88 books and never mentioned once. He never mentioned once the historical Jesus. Plutarch was an eclectic, in other words, a syncretist. In those days, they were called the Neoplatonists called themselves eclectics because they had, because they had an eclectic theology. They didn't limit themselves to their church theology, and Plutarch used to laugh. They used to laugh at these churches, and so did. So Plutarch was in the middle of Plato and the Neoplatonists. So he was 400 years after Plato and 300 years before the Neoplatonists, which in subsequent shows I'll be reading from the Neoplatonists like Porphyry, who is my favourite philosopher of all time, and we will also be reading from Porphyry. But these are the writings of Plutarch that I'm reading from, and I mean I've got their books back in Victoria, where I come from. I'm now living in Queensland. I don't have all my books with me, but I copied these off the internet, and anyone can go to the internet and grab this. The article is called History of Vegetarianism, The Ethics of Diet, Plutarch, 40 to 120 AD. That's Anno Domini, or Common Era. So he lived in the 1st century AD, and the reason why I'm reading from these ancient guys like Ovid, Pythagoras, Plato, is so that we can have history supporting our views. So we can have history showing that this has been a historical viewpoint. It's a true historical way of living. Meat eating is definitely not historical. It is only recent that these demons have introduced corpse eating to dumb us down.
And if they're saying that in those days, I mean, goodness me, that is it's incredible that they had that, and they didn't have computers. They just had their intuition and their hearts and their transcendental science. That's all they had, and they're saying that then. I mean, we haven't come very far, have we?
No.
Well, we have. They'll be proud of us. I'm sure they'll be proud of us.
Yeah, the ones that matter have come very far. The ones that don't matter, don't matter. And unfortunately, it's very sad to say, it's not being judgmental, but the scriptures concur with me in that some people are just going to be animals till the day they die. They love it. They will be murderers. They will be murdered. And they will have no place in the higher realms. No place. And they will continue to incarnate, being born and dying and suffering in places of hell. And this is hell. It is hell. This plane where we are on here...
I think it's hell.
Yes, it can be described as hell.
It's a pretty low place.
Paradise.
Yeah.
It can be paradise too.
Yes, it can. There are 3 conditions. There are 3 conditions on this plane: hell, purgatory, and paradise. Where we are is purgatory. Purgatory means to be purged, to be pure. Fire, pyro. You've heard the word pyromaniac, right?
Yeah.
Pyro, pure, purge, purgatory. We on this call, we are not in hell. The meat eaters are in hell. But what we're doing is we're transitioning from purgatory into paradise. So there's always 3 conditions on material terrestrial planes. And it's up to us. It's our choice whether we want to remain in hell, whether we want to purify ourselves in purgatory and transition to paradise. And paradise is here. It is one of the three conditions that are here. But how many people aspire to it? How many people find paradise? That's the question. We can have paradise tomorrow, compositely, collectively, tomorrow. All we have to do is eliminate the demonic teachings. I'm here to bring back absolute truth to this plane. That's my job, and I'm committed to that. I've put away murder and falsehood, and I've sworn in my heart, and I have vowed that I will be a truther for the rest of eternity, and I will not practice any kind of evil and any kind of falsehood. And so my job here is to help us to transition from purgatory into paradise.
Well, I think that this show is a truther show, and what we're saying is not opinions. So everyone who's listening who says that they don't like the way we put the show forward, we're talking the truth. We're not talking opinions. You know, it's not. We're not here. We're not having an ego battle here. We're talking the truth because we've dedicated our lives to show the truth, and that's it.
Yep, that's absolutely true. I live the proof. I live the facts, and I show it to people, and they don't want to believe in it so much that they just find every excuse to just deny it. Man, I could run off like a couple of bananas, some oranges, a spinach, and I could have 4 hours of sleep, get up, go for a jog, go to work 8 hours unloading trucks, lifting up pallets, and hauling the pallets to the floor for 8 hours, jog back home, get home, lift some weights, go back to bed for 6 hours maybe, get that couple hours extra to sleep because that's a lot of energy I burnt, and then do it all over again. And all I do is eat plant
because you've got electrical
food.
charge.
Exactly, and people don't see that. They don't see that. It's like that's proof. It can't get any more real than that. That is proof. That is fact.
No, that's right. That's right. You've just got natural abundance of energy. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
You can use you as an example, Elaine. People are going to look at us because we are the examples, really.
Yeah. Many people do, many.
Yeah, look, it's people's opinion when they think that we're being, brutal or whatever. How do I know that? Well, it's simple. Because I get thousands and thousands of emails from people telling me that they have become vegan because of me.
Me too. And me
and
too.
And they tell me the benefits. They say, I thank the heavens daily for you, Santos. I thank the heavens daily for your years and years of promoting veganism because finally I got it. I finally got it and started. Some people 2 months ago, some 6 months ago, but I tell you, not hundreds, thousands and thousands write to me, thousands, probably millions, because I get thousands of emails and messages every day, and I know we are in this show, but in my 5 or 6 years of syncretism, I have converted tens and tens of thousands of people who are blessing veganism, who are blessing me, who are blessing syncretism. So when you get the one or two who go out of their way to tell you, oh, you're being brutal and da. Why? Because they are blocked in their heart and they are defending their cruel, murderous, complicit attitude and they don't want to change. Hence, they will not receive any of the blessings. Good luck to them. I mean, do I care about that? The ones that mind don't matter. The ones that don't mind matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the ones that matter, they've been converted already. This will reach the right people. This show will reach the ones that need this and who are going to convert. The ones that don't,
already.
They'll turn it off and they'll continue eating pig's bums and they'll continue farting and acquiring all the diseases, including piles, till the day they die in misery in their old people's homes, and they will have a gravestone and their carcasses will reincarnate back in hellish planes. Good luck to them. Good luck to them.
Yep.
I really would like to. I'd like to get this straight, this fact straight, and it's the ego. You cannot get rid of the ego. For those, because I run into people who say ego's not good, blah blah blah, and you have to get your vocabulary straight when you're talking about ego, because ego, you can't get rid of it. It's a good thing to have, just like your throat chakra, your communication, how you communicate. You can't get rid of that. So same with the ego. You can use your ego as either as a null point where you're just using ego, or you can use it to inflict or benefit something towards the right direction. And the third one is using your ego towards the negative direction, which is greed or whatever, right? That's the ego you don't want to use. The rest of the ego is good. I just want to mention that.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
That's right, Elaine. What they're referring to, and they don't realize because they haven't done their study, they haven't learned the sacred theology, the sacred philosophy, syncretism, the perennial philosophy, the Prisca Theologia, which is all I teach. They haven't done their homework. They haven't broadened their consciousness and understood. There are two egos. There's the false ego, and there is the ego which you will always have and always will be. The false ego is identifying with the body. Hang on a tick. Get on a show. Come down. So the false ego. See, when we are created with eight external energies of the Lord Krishna. Let's call the Lord Krishna for now. Some people want Christ. Some people want Allah. It's the Creator, the Source Creator. The Source Creator creates everything that exists, and we as human beings, we have 8 external potencies: ether, fire, air, water, and earth. They are the gross external potencies of the Creator. We are made with those 5 substances. Then there is the 3 subtle potencies, the 3 subtle elements: false ego, intelligence, and mind. So this is why I go on a lot about intelligence, and why we need to elevate our intelligence, because we have these 3 lower subtle energies of the Creator. We do have false ego, the body, identifying with the body. We do have material intelligence. We do have material mind. But what happens is, these are the 3 that we need to concentrate on. We need to lose the false ego, not the ego, because we have a spiritual ego. We have a spiritual intelligence, and we have a spiritual mind. And this is what people have not activated. And so vegans, when you become a vegan, you start realizing that mind, the higher mind. You start realizing the higher intelligence. You start realizing the higher ego, and you start acting from that place. And so this is why they hate us, the ones who are adamantly stuck in their meat-eating paradigm, because we have elevated, we have actualized. When you actualize, then you come from another place. And so you do not identify with your body anymore, so you don't need to eat bodies. You don't want to eat carcasses anymore. And this is why you look for more subtle substance to ingest, to feed your beautiful body with, because now you are actualized, and you are self-realized, you are God-realized. This is what it means to accept the Savior. The Savior is not some hocus-pocus dude in the sky who comes and says, "Oh, I'm going to save you because you're dumb." No, the Saviour is the higher ego, the spiritual intelligence, and the spiritual mind. And in astrology, these are the sun sign, the moon sign, and the ascendant, rising sign. And so in my case, I have Aryan intelligence, I have Piscean mind, my mind is Piscean, and my body is Leo, because that's my rising sign. And so your body takes the shape of the false ego. So, but that doesn't mean that if I act out those three signs, that I'm stuck in the lower realms. No, because I can actualize them, and I can have a higher Leo body, I can have a higher Piscean mind, and I can have a higher Aryan intelligence. And so this is why astrology is so important as well, because it's the stars, it's the ecliptic that gives us our nature. But our nature is material. But we also have a spiritual nature. And so what we have to do is we have to transmute the material side, elevate the false ego, the material mind, and the material body. Hang on, one tick. Sublimate them, sublimate those, and enter into heaven, which is the spiritual side of our nature. Nature, I'm using that word. A lot of people think nature only refers to material things. No, it doesn't. Whatever you have materially, you have the equivalent of spiritually. This must be understood. And this is what I've endeavored to share with people in my presentations. And you will get this in my presentations. If you watch my astrotheology presentations, they are all valid. Even though they are based on heliocentrism, now I've converted that to geocentrism, which is the true doctrine. But all of that information is valid. What we need to do is transmute the material and spiritualize. We have to spiritualize. If we don't spiritualize, we cannot go to spiritual realms. We will be stuck. The vibration of our bodies will be material, and we will have to reincarnate in realms of hell and purgatory for as long as we don't get it. If we actualize and spiritualize, we will ascend. This is what ascension means. And what it means is we go from the lower chakras, we go from down here, and we elevate the vibration, and we start activating the chakras through the heart, and we start getting them spinning at a rate where they work correctly, so that our consciousness can permeate all the waves of the universe, because everything is waveform. There's only waves. There are only atomic waves in the universe. And the only way to penetrate the true reality is to spiritualize. We all have this ability. We are all spiritual beings. But meat eating deadens the spirit. It's what the scriptures say, gluttons will not inherit God's kingdom. A glutton is a meat eater, period. It's not someone who eats a lot. It's someone who eats what they shouldn't eat. And that is murder, death, corpse, cadaver, carcass. They are carcass crunchers, and they will not spiritualize. Don't listen to these Mayavadis and false teachers who say, oh, you can eat meat and you can do it, and you can practice yoga and ascend and everything like that. Please, please don't be deceived. You will not ascend. You will not sublimate. You will not transmute.
So when someone is spiritualizing, is that when you become intolerable to, I don't know, fashions like designer fashion or certain things that materialistic people do? Because I found myself becoming very intolerable to even certain places, shops, for example. I just cannot stand the energy, and I just want to run. That's when you start spiritualizing.
Yep.
That's good.
To spiritualize is our alchemical journey. It is the transmigration of the soul. The soul is transmigrating through this waveform material world, so that it can experience and taste this world with all its tastes and sights and pleasures, and so that it can learn from this material realm how to return to its source. So the transmigration of the soul is the story of sublimating our grosser energies to our more spiritual, refined energies, so that we can elevate, and so that we can be higher than the material suffering world, so that we can elevate. We spiritualize. We actualize our spiritual nature, and so this is called accepting the Christ. This is what it means to be saved. This is what it means. See, churchgoers say, "Oh, I'm saved by Jesus because I'm going to the Jehovah's Witness church. I'm saved." They're not, because they're still ingesting corpse. They're still practicing the death cult. They're still murderous. They're not saved. To be saved means to spiritualize and actualize the higher mind, the spiritual mind, not the material mind. See, these people are materialists. They think they're spiritualists, but they're not. They're materialists. And that's why I differentiate the difference between the Neoplatonic school and the Aristotelian school. All of the world, all the universities teach the Aristotelian materialist philosophy, and eating meat and everything material, and all of the false teachings of the globe, gravity, Big Bang, evolution, and relativity. Those are the big five false doctrines of the materialists. And you can't convince them. You will not convince a materialist that we're not living on a spinning globe. You can't do that. You can't teach them. You see, Tesla, who was a spiritualized vegan, he debunked gravity and relativity. He debunked that, and yet all these materialists, they follow Einstein, who teaches this rubbish, and the theory of relativity and all of this quantum mechanics and all of this buffoonery. It's ghastly. It is ghastly what they're teaching in university, and they come out of there with their fat head diseases, and they think they're smart. They are materialists, and they will never ever escape their materialist, trapped, imprisoned mind, and they will never spiritualize, whilst they are learning and accepting these false teachings. All the scriptures teach us that we live in a geocentric system, always have, always will, and this globe, this funny spinning globe, and all of the ball liquor followers of it, they are relativists. Everything's relative to them. Oh, that's relative. Oh, yeah, but it's not absolutely true. You know how many of these so-called truthers reply to me, "Oh, there is no such thing as truth." There is no truth. You know, these are demented materialists, and they get on the radio and they talk about, "Oh, well, this particular truth and that particular truth." They got no idea. They have no idea. They hang on to some of their, they hang on to their barbecue meat eating concept and their ball, because they're ball lickers, and they hang on to all of this half truths, and they think they're truthers. Well, guess what? Syncretism is just smashing them. No one's paying attention to these idiots anymore. I'm calling them all out.
I mean, it's okay to, come down here and, bring up a new idea. Well, maybe our world is like this. Maybe, I mean, that's okay if you bring up the new idea. But to take that idea and isolate everything around it in ignorance, and then use it as a weapon to basically deceive the world, that's wrong. That's just not right.
Yeah, see, these people will defend meat eating because the world is still meat eating. These people will defend because the world still believes in the globe. These people will defend relativism because the world still believes in relativism. So they have their cowardly backing for now, but very, very soon, rest assured, within months, The world will discard, the world will be conscious enough to discard all of those big five teachings, and where are they going to be left? Where will they be standing once the world has opened their eyes? These so-called truthers who are sticking with meat eating, relativism, Big Bang, and they hang on to, a few of these creepy teachings because, well, the crowd still hangs on to them. So they've got the backing of the crowd, but not the backing of the universe and absolute truth. Where are they going to be standing in a few more months when we really, really wake up? When people really stop en masse believing these demonic lies? Where are they going to be? They will be shamed forever. Their names will go in the book of shame, and I will make sure that their names will be in the book of shame just by preaching the absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I mean, I say I'm not saying that, I'm this kind of hero that's going to do it all single-handedly. I'm saying that I will do my part. I'm not being arrogant, I'm being humble in saying that you and what I'm saying is, rest assured that I will be shoulder to shoulder with you if you join me in silencing the false prophets. I will be there with you. What I'm saying is, that is what I intend and what I have vowed, and I will be with all truthers standing shoulder to shoulder to silence the false prophets. That's what we have to do. We can't sit back.
We have to do, and that's our job.
That is our job.
We can't sit back
and spew and vomit forth, half-truths so that more people are deceived. Remember what Jesus said. He said, I feel pain for the crowds, for they are like sheep without a shepherd. And they are being led this way and that way without a shepherd to shepherd them and show them the true way. Well, I'm not going to let them happen. I'm not going to let false shepherds come along and take the sheep to the right and to the left so that they will be deceived even more. So this alternative media, they think they are in the alternative media and that they are providing better information than the media. Well, they're not, because they're just taking people from one false paradigm and plonking them right back into another false paradigm because they don't know their syncretism and they don't know their absolute truth, and they are still stuck in opinions. And so I'm going to silence all those false prophets with syncretism.
That's the way. That's the way. This is the Truthers way. This is the Truthers show, and we talk about truth, and that's what we do, because we have to. Like you say, it's our job to expose the lies and get people thinking, or thinking with their heart, should I say, not too much thinking. People think too much with logic. They need to think with their heart, raise their energy, and think from their heart.
And that's what good Arians do, because Aries is the lamb, the ram, the Lamb of God, and they are shepherds, and they love shepherding the flock. And you are Arian, Kimmy.
I am.
Elaine, I forgot I think you're Piscean, yeah?
Yep, I'm Pisces.
Yeah, okay, so Pisces is another one of those signs that is a service sign. The cardinal signs are about sacrifice. We sacrifice. So the lamb gets sacrificed. Capricorn, the goat, gets sacrificed. Cancer and Libra, these are signs of self-sacrifice. Okay? The mutable signs, Pisces and Virgo in particular, the fish and the bread, they serve. They love to serve. Pisceans are very serving. And so they want to serve mankind, and they have a vision. They are dreamers, and they want the best dream to come to fruition for humanity. They have one fish is always aspiring to the highest sublime understandings, and they have this urge, because Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces and Jupiter is the grantor, the benefactor, and they love to share that higher Pisces vision. And so I think it's a good blend. Aries is the Lamb of God and Pisces is the fisherman of men. And we love to fish for good men and women to bring them to the flock, and we love to shepherd them. So let's continue that. And we're up to show number 5. One day we'll be up to show 1,000, and all the world will be in the true flock. And Hare Krishna, and Jaya Radhe.
And turning everybody vegan, slaying the demons, slaying the demons.
Yes, this is demon slaying. This is slaying the false teachings. Literally.
Literally, I love it. I love this show. It's amazing, and I get so many messages from people that say they love the show and how good it is, and it really is. It's the best show on YouTube. That's the end. It's the Truther show.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, guys. So closing thoughts, and we've done an hour and a half. I think that's a good time limit. So go ahead, close off with your closing thoughts, and we'll finish up.
Yeah, I think next week, hopefully we'll have a show next week, and we'll do some more demon slaying there. And I hope everyone loves the show, because we love the show, and stay tuned. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Cheerios.